Hi, hello, g'day, kia ora, welcome to the studio. I'm Paula from MoxyMojo. Thank you for joining me for the 16th of December Shaker Tag and Moon Dust. And this is our prompt for Dephemerember 2025. This one is going to be interesting. I've come up with an idea, but it is using a whole lot of stuff that I've not used before, so who knows how we're going to go. We don't have a snack for this one, but our tea is a Bell Matcha Latte. And I have made this up as a iced matcha or matcha, depending on how you want to say it. And made with almond milk because that's all we drink now. Oh yeah, that is nice. Shaker Tag and Moon Dust. I'm basing my entire project around the stencil. I've tossed up between that one, but I love this full-sized moon, and so that's what we're going with. For a shaker tag, and I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've made one, we need to have a backing, we need to have a front that's got a window in it, so we need some kind of clear something or other. And then between them, there needs to be some kind of spacing so that whatever we put in the tag has room to move about. And it's kind of these materials that I'm not sure about. Because the only foam I've got, like foam dots, are so thin that nothing is going to be able to move. They're ridiculously thin. I mean, they're great. Don't get me wrong, I love them, but they're way too skinny. I'd need to pile up probably at least 2, more likely 3, to get any kind of depth for things to move, and I don't have enough of these because that's all I've got. So we need to be a little bit creative, shall we say. First thing I need to think about is my transparent cover, and I need it to be at least that size. Now I want it to be something kind of heavy and strong enough that it is going to hold whatever I put in there. I have found, now this is another one of those covers that was over the curtain fabric samplers, and I've worked out that particularly here I've got enough space to do my cover. And to cut it, I'm going to be using my Martha Stewart circle cutter because that is kind of the one that I've had the best success with in terms of cutting larger circles. This is going to go on here. And I'm going to stencil through here onto my plastic, and I'm trying to do, so I want it to be about there, so I'm going to adhere it with washi tape. Has to be archival ink because it needs to dry onto this plastic surface. Jet black. Alright, so definitely working. Okay, that's a bit better, but right, okay, well, we've inked it. Okay, so it does show, but just not as dark as I was hoping for. Okay, so the archival ink hasn't worked, so we're going to try paint. Now I've got golden black gesso and Liquitex heavy body acrylic and Mars black, and we're just going to jump in. So I'm going to put the gesso on first, and then I will put the acrylic ink over the top. It's looking good. I mean, that's more what I wanted. Okay, so the black gesso has had a minute or two to dry. Now I'm going to put some more of the Mars, or I'm actually going to put the Mars black, I should say, on top, just to give it that bit more, hopefully. Oh. And I'm just going over the top. Right, so now that's looking more the colour of, the intensity of colour that I wanted. So I'll give that a minute to dry off as well. And I'll clean up here, and by then we should be okay to lift it off. Here's hoping. Okay, so I've put that off to one side to continue to dry while we carry on with the next step. So I thought while that's drying, probably the next key thing is to cut out our circle that's going to form, in essence, the back of the tag, and then the frame on the front of what is going to be our snow globe. So I've pulled out my Martha Stewart circle cutter. Now the stencil is 3.5 inches wide. So we're looking at 3.5 inches. And then I figured like 1/2 inch on either side, so that would bring it up to 4.5 inches. So have we got that on there? 4.5 inches. So that's good. So because there is another circle cutter that's bigger than this, but this one will cut what the sizes that we need. I want to use a white card, and I want it to be, I was thinking recycled, and so I found this. It was in a Molly's Makes magazine, and this was a paper cut book with whatever was inside it, but it's a nice weight of cardboard, and it's the white colour that I want, or closest to white that I could get in the recycled cardstock supply that I've got. Now the only concern I've got is that it's not white on both sides. My alternative is some white cardstock, but it's nowhere near as sturdy as this. Still, I could always glue it on so that I can't see what's in there. And that's something I may actually I need to seriously think about doing. So it's as long as the bit I've got is a minimum of 4.5 inches. So let's make it 5 inches by 5 inches. And I only need to do one side, and that's the back. I don't need to do it for the front because we're not going to see the front from the back because the back's going to be whole. So if I now glue that on there, we should be good. We're going to leave that a minute to dry and set and firm up. So while that is drying, we now need to make our center. And this is going to be our frame on the front. So I want to just mark. So it needs to be 4.5. So we're going to make it 5, between 5 and 5. And I'm going to draw my square. 5. And 5, and this is just so I can kind of center it quite nicely. And oops, and 5 and 5, and then so we want this at 2.5 because I need to make sure I have got exactly the same center for both of these circles so that my frame is even. So that is my center there. And in here, you may not be able to see it, but right sort of where my finger is, there is a cross. And so, basically, I will be putting that cross on that circle. And excuse my head. And I need to make sure that, yeah, it lines up there. So, what I might actually be tempted to do is, because it needs to be so exact, is I am going to put some washi tape down. I have no idea if this is going to work, but we're going to try. That's one. Oops, and already I move it. But so long as like it doesn't move, and that bit, yep, that bit can still go. That's there. Do we want one more bit? Yeah, why not? Okay, I've never done this before. Right, so in theory, this should work. So we need to find, now I'm going to, which way around am I going to do it? So I will cut the smaller hole first, which is going to be, take the center out, then cut the larger hole out. So now sliding that off, so we now have a blade there, and starting in front of me we have 3.5, and then I just want to check, so 3.5, yep, that's plenty. So now 4.5. Yep, so I mean it's about 1/4 of an inch from either of these sides. Right, where's my 3.5 again? No. 3.5 there. So now we are going to slide it in, and I'm going to just lightly go around the circle, probably a couple of times. Alright, and now very gingerly lift this up, and is that going to come out? I may need to do just a little bit. Okay, so I've just got to do a little bit of fixing up, that's fine. So now we've got our 4.5, which is there. So that wasn't too bad actually. Alright, so 4.5. And here we go. Why are we stuck? No, we've moved. That's what I was afraid of. Okay, so we've moved. Okay. But if we hadn't moved, that would work. But we might be able to still rescue it. So that's our bit there. This is kind of where it went off the rails. Maybe I need to put a sharper blade in for the next, if I want to do it again. Oops. Because, yeah, this is still the original blade. But what I can do now is, if I go and do an X or a star, so I've marked it and I know that that is where it goes a little bit off kilter, and so that can be my bit that I hide. So I think that will do. So yeah, I can see that, yeah, that's definitely off, but I like it. Awesome. Now, is this dry? Now, because this is going to be a double thickness, we're going to need to go through it. It may take us a good cut to do, and I am going to try another blade, a new blade. That is 2.5. I need to do this very light because I don't know how well it's going to rub off. And 5.5. Right, so I at least have my X in the middle again. Right. So here we go again for take 2. And you're going to push up. No! I was too optimistic. Right. Not a problem. Okay, we will do it by hand. Because I've got like that, it's kind of scored through there. Should have lifted it up and checked it. Oh, learn from my mistakes. But my secret weapon is I've got these curved scissors. And these are like nail scissors. So, hopefully, we can go around the circle, and yeah, so I'm like kind of just sliding the blade around. Oh no, now we're having to cut a wee bit, but not really, because it's like at least kind of scored. It's not like ultra heavy duty cutting. And I've already got like a mark there of where I need to cut. Biggest problem is just trying to fit my chubby little wee fingers in these tiny wee holes. That's better. When it just kind of slides in without you actually cutting, it's good. And there we go, look at that. Maybe just a little bit of sanding, but to be honest, you can't really tell. I mean, it's going to be the back of the tag. I'd probably just sand it down. I think that's all I'll do. But, awesome. Done. So now what we're going to do is that is going to fit over the top there. And, yep, you can just see that little wee bit down the bottom. But it's hardly noticeable at all. My problem now is I need to hold them apart like this. Wow, you can see the difference that extra bit of cardboard makes on there. Now, I almost kind of wish I'd done it on there, but Anyway, I digress. So back to this. I need to make it stand out a little bit apart. And that's where I might have used my foam, adhesive foam. But, and just to reiterate this, that is really not a big enough gap, if you can even see it. It's barely bigger than the two lots of cardboard together. So I need to come up with an alternative. Now I don't have any other foam adhesive. It seems to have vanished in the studio, and it could be because I've been like shifting things around and rearranging and that kind of stuff. But what I did find was this stuff, and this is like packaging foam, and it, you know, that horrible squeaky stuff. So I've got this one which is quite thin, so let's have a look. So that one there is, I'd say that one is okay. It would probably do. Or I've got this one, and I think that one's going to be too big. I was thinking this one, but no, I think that's too big now. I think that, yeah, we're going to go with this one rather than the thicker one. I'm going to take this circle here and draw a circle here. Using our, what is it, Sharpie pen. Okay, all right. Now, right, that wasn't too bad to cut actually. I wasn't sure how easy it would be to cut or not. So I'm just going to trim it down. And now I'm going to fussy cut this out. Right, there we go. That was easy done. Now, the hard part. Now, we're going to do this here. Right. And we should be good. So those are our good bits. Now we need to, I think I'm going to cut it with these, but I should be able to just carefully. Right, that's got me through. So I want to I'm just cutting it roughly out first. Right. So now I'm going to cut with them curved round that way, so following the curve of here, and I'm going to cut on the outside of this. So now this should, here's my flat bit, there's that flat bit there, so now there, that, and then that. The only thing is I should have done is maybe I think I need to now go around and cut off the black line, but that looks pretty good. Here goes the big test now. Pull that off. And I need some white card to put underneath there. A moon. Oh, that looks awesome. I love it. Love it. We want this again. And we are going to put this on. So I'm going to draw my line around here, and this is going to be my cutting line, so hopefully that shows. Yep. This is going to go over there. Yep. Then we're going to have the foam on there, and then that there. Doesn't that look cool? So that, before we go any further, I want this to look kind of like an ornament. And plus we've got the whole tag function, and so I need something to make a hole. I don't want to make a hole in through this layer here because it's so narrow. So I want something to stick out the top and be our hole. So I haven't used anything yet from either Tanya or Robin, but I was thinking I would like to colour that gold, and so I've been through all Tanya's scraps. Now admittedly these are some old scraps from last Dephemerember, but I still quite like them and still think they're really clever and handy, so I'm going to use these. Now all I've done is, these are like candy or chocolate wrappers, and I have just I spent ages just spreading all the wrinkles out of them. So it started off like that. You can see there's a bit more wrinkles in them, and then just spreading, oops, and then I go and do something silly like that. Go spreading all the wrinkles out of them. And all you do is just gently rub your finger over it and push. Like, I find it's easier to push away from myself. I can control it better. And by just doing that smoothly, you can get all the wrinkles out of, you know, chocolate wrappers. I think we will coat these first, so do them while they're separate, so that I can like fold the edges over. And I'm going to use these ultra sharp scissors. Now, so I'm going to like cut this in half. And you will find that sharper scissors make it so much easier to cut this. Now I'm going to cut around, leaving about, it's probably about 3/16 of an inch. You know, about 3 millimeters. Around the outside of my cardboard. And, you know, I'm just eyeballing it. Doesn't need to be precise. Right, so there. And then I'm going to snip it all the way around. And now that I've done all my snipping, I am just going to do a very thin line of glue right around the edge. And then I will very gingerly and very carefully, I'm going to fold over like these, kind of one at a time. Just kind of 2 at a time really, but you know. And then try not to get put your fingernails in there like you've just done, Paula. But we can, I mean, we're gonna poke a hole in there, and then we want to try and smooth this out as much as possible. And yeah, there we go. So that's one side. I am going to now glue just like the inside ring here. Right, so here we go. That is there. Just double check. Yep. Centering. Yep, that'll do. Yep, cool. Like it, love it, love it, love it. Now, I think I will glue that onto there. So, again, we have our wonky bit down the bottom. And I need to make sure that's lined up, right? So, oh, that makes sense. I'm going to do it so that the pen marks are towards the back instead of where you can see them. That makes sense, Paula. And what we want to do now is also put one of those up there, not very long, so I need to, now I've just put that in, put another there, and we are going there, and there. So this is kind of a combined Tanya and me. So Tanya in her scraps sent me this gorgeous piece of wedding gown lace, complete with all the sequins and beads on it, which hopefully they're kind of sparkling on the camera. And those sequins just happen to be the same, I think, or at least very similar to these sequins here. And these were left over from my first wedding dress. And the funny thing is that I sent some of these to both Robin and Tanya in their swap parcels. So I thought I need to put some of these in. This is some scrap of some vellum. So I thought what we could do is just put in maybe a few strips, few like punches of this. So let's, so I'm just going to do the small hole of this and see what we get, because it's like, yeah. These are scraps that Tanya sent me, and this was from last year's Dephemerember. And remember there was the prompt about the cheese? So, and this was what Tanya was working on. And I just thought it would be quite cute to have like a section of this being the cheese on the moon, because, you know, that's the kind of cheesy idea I come up with. Let's go for a small cheesy bit. There we go. Can we, oh, here we go again. Alright, there we go. So that's going to go in that way there. And that's our little wee bit of cheese for the moon. And then, can I do one of these as well? Because I love that. So, can we, doesn't need to be a full one, but can we, there we go. So another scrap from Tanya. Right, so that's that, I think. Or we can always do, can we get one of those out? So this is from the envelope. Centered almost. No, it's trapped in there. But we can cut it out. Whoops. Didn't do that very well. And we're going to I don't know how that'll do. We might take that one out, but there we go. Alright. So that's those. Now I need some, and I was looking at this stuff here from Robin, and I thought that would look quite cool in there. So let's just, oops, don't know why I put the cat back on them. So I'm just going to like chop this into like little wee triangle-y bits. Because who knows what shape the dust will be. Apart from now it's like sticking to my finger. Come on, you got to get in there. Oh, yep, someone's made it. Finally. Okay, now we're going to spend half an hour trying to get this stuff off my fingers. Right, I've got a few bits there. Alright, come on, in you go. Right. Okay, so we've got some of that. And I've got some other wee things that I'm going to decorate the outside with, because there wasn't many items in there but that kind of fit with this. So now we get into some more fun. So for someone who doesn't use glitter, I have got an awful lot of glitter in my stash. So I've pulled out all my white glitter and a little silver glitter and some black glitter. So I was contemplating what we were going to put in there. And I've got some white makeup, which I thought might be good. And I've got some mica flakes, and this is some glass glitter. So we might put some of that in, because who knows what's on the moon. So we'll come back to the black, but so I've just grabbed my little wee silicone spoon, now what we're going to do is we are going to glue on here. Right, so it's there. Now we've got around this edge. Oops. Sorry, I had to concentrate on that a wee bit more than what I thought. And now we're going to just glue in here. Right. Okay. Now we need to, and I just need to turn this around so I can get these two lined up, and then we need to glue that onto there. So we have got our back. Whoops, we are just slightly off alignment, but that's okay. So now I don't want to tip it up until it's dry. But now what we need to do is we're going to put one on the front. Oh, that way around. So I'm going to go just a big patch there, and put that there. And then that one there. And I also need to just glue in between there. Right. And we're going to join that there. And this one I'm just going to have to hold down for a wee bit until the glue catches. Now while we are here, this way around, I'm going to kind of draw my pattern on here for my stand. So I want it to be kind of about, it doesn't need to be too much, but I need it to be kind of there and there, or maybe a little bit more of a stand. That's about what I want. Right, so here goes. I've no idea what this is going to look like. Cool. Look at that. It works. I love it. I love it. Right, so now we need to put this on there. I mean, it's very one-coloured though, isn't it? So maybe I need to just add some ink. I think that needs to be like a brown. Ready, have I got a ready brown? You've got swatches, have a look at them. What's that? There's that vintage photo. Yep. I think I need to do vintage photo. Unless we go for actual red. Oh, we could go. What's that one? Walnut stain. Walnut stain and aged mahogany, is it? Yeah. Okay, so that one. There you might do. Come on, where are you, walnut stain? There. Right, what colour is that? That's okay. Right. So I want to remove that. Okay, so we're going to try blending some inks to make our own custom colour because I haven't got one that I want. I've seen it, I could probably have put more in there, but I'm okay with what I've got. Now the last thing we need to do is finally poke our hole through these pesky things. So we're going to just eyeball it. There. And I know that's not ideal, but that will do. And what I was thinking was, for my ribbon to hang it from, was one of these. So we've got like gold ribbons there, not the silver ones. So any of those will do, so we'll take that one. So there, we've got our ribbons. That's cool. I mean, we could possibly put an eyelet in there, but I don't think it needs it. Yeah, I love the moon dust that we've got. I love that we've got our cheese from Tanya. A couple of bits of cheese. Somewhere at the end there's a silver or gold dot in there as well. We've got the sequins. I've, you know, glitter, which I honestly thought there was going to be way too much, but then I think because quite a bit of it is stuck around the edges, so, but I'm pleased with what, you know, how we look. And like the mica looks awesome in there. Oh. And shake it around a bit. Oh, yep, see, there we go. There's our gold dot. That's cool. I love it. I love it. I think that is so awesome. Right, and on that note, I am going to call it a day. So, thank you for joining me in the studio, as this really was a whole lot of experimentation and play, because I honestly did not know if this was going to work, but I love it. I think it looks awesome. I love it. Love, love, love it. And I love the simplicity of, you know, how it looks. I think that's cool. And I'm just going to like sit here and want to play with it and watch our moon dust. Okay, thank you for joining me in the studio. I hope I've given you some ideas to try, or maybe inspired you to try something that you have no idea if it's going to work or not. But I'll see you back in the studio for the next prompt. Bye for now.